The Ontario Legislature will be back in session later this morning, so it is the perfect time to have our Queen's Park producer Randy Rath join us with a preview. Good morning, and the throne speech ahead. Good morning, Randy.
Hi, Bob. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
In the throne speech today, I think that we could expect to see it overwhelmingly talk about COVID. The government says that we are better positioned than a lot of jurisdictions because we've basically flattened the fourth wave, and our hospitals are still in pretty good shape. We're not overwhelmed in our emergency wards or our ICUs. They're going to try to protect the progress that has been made this far, and they're going to do things that will help end hallway healthcare. Remember, before COVID hit, ending hallway healthcare was a priority for all the parties. So we're going to hear a little bit more today about 3,000 new hospital beds that have been promised, 30,000 new long-term care beds that have been promised, and 27,000 new healthcare workers, which will include 16 or 17,000 new PSWs.
Now, how will the opposition parties, how do you expect them to react to this?
They're not going to react well. They're going to say that Ford's government did too little, too late. But, strangely, the priorities of the opposition parties are the same pretty much as the government's. Andrea Horwath put out a tweet this morning saying that she wants to hire more nurses at PSWs. She wants to have a safe school plan. They want mandatory vaccines and healthcare workers and education workers. And Stephen Del Duca, Ontario's Liberal leader, is basically saying the same thing, although he's putting more of an emphasis on getting $10 a day childcare. Now,
the fall economic statement is coming later this year, but are we going to get any idea of how we're going to pay for all of this?
Well, the government is saying that we are in a lot better economic fiscal shape than we were than was expected in the spring budget. In the budget that we had earlier this year, they say that there's $9 billion more in revenue, which is a lot of money, and they're going to promise in the throne speech that there will be no program cuts and no tax hikes to pay for all this, and we'll start to hear good economic news, I believe, in the fall economic statement, and then going forward the months leading up to the election on June the 2nd, we'll hear even more economic news, and we'll have a spring budget which will stress fiscal responsibility and put the Tories in the best light that they can be put in going into the campaign.
Okay, and so we will be looking at a post-pandemic economy, but of course we're still dealing with the pandemic. And do you think we'll get any light on vaccine certificates and other measures and how that is going to roll out in the short term or end?
That's a good question, Bob. Generally in a throne speech, there's not a lot of detail. So if something like that is done, I think that we'll see it going forward in the next few days and weeks after the throne speech, where we'll get more detail, more meat on the bones of what's offered in the throne speech.
Do you think Ford will be getting some heat in this session of the at Queen's Park regarding his absences? He's been pretty vacant, or he's been missing this summer.
Well, yeah, he will. I mean, his absence this summer was strategic. He didn't want anything to do with the federal election campaign and Aaron O'Toole. He wanted to separate himself from that, and he's in a better position now in that he can fight the election campaign that's coming up against Justin Trudeau and anything that Trudeau does, and do what he's been doing all along, which is pretending that Stephen Del Duca doesn't exist.
Okay, well, there's still some, many campaign promises have been filled, but not all, and we will watch how things develop. But thank you for the sneak peek, the throne speech getting underway this morning, and we'll have more at chch.com. Queen's Park producer Randy Rath, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Bob.